Brilliance Audio presents Against All Enemies by Tom Clancy with Peter Telep. Performed by Stephen Weber. Moore looked across the sea and saw it, 1,000 meters out, rising up out of the waves, a nightmare with imposing black sail and dull black decks fully awash as she breached, her bow pointed at them. The commander had brought the sub to the surface to challenge them, then had fired the flare to visually confirm his target. Kayani lifted the pair of binoculars dangling around his neck and zoomed in. "It's the Shushook. She's one of ours. She's supposed to be back at the pier." Moore's chest tightened. What the hell was a Pakistan Navy submarine doing in his rendezvous zone? He craned his head to the Agrai, where he assumed that by now the Taliban prisoner was on deck. According to the plan, Adam was wearing a black jumpsuit and turban, and his wrists were bound. His escorts were supposed to be two heavily armed Marcos, or Marine Commandos, of the Indian Navy. Moore spun back to face the submarine, and then suddenly he saw it. A line of phosphorescence bubbling up in the water and streaking past their stern, heading toward the Agrai. He pointed. "Torpedo!" In the next breath, Moore came up behind Kayani, shoved him over the side, then jumped himself as the torpedo struck the Agrai in a horrific explosion whose thundering and flashing was as surreal as it was shockingly close. A blast wave of debris pinged off the Kuwat's hull and rained down to strike the water in dozens of splashes. Moore's eyes widened as the steaming, hissing sea came up at them, heated now by all the white-hot shards of hull and deck and torpedo that continued to blast off the Agrai. As he hit the water, narrowly missing a jagged piece of steel, a ball of flames set off the Agrai's Grail surface-to-air missiles and both clusters of ASW rockets on her forecastle. Moore sank below the waves, his shoes colliding with something below. He swam back to the surface and jerked his head around, searching for the lieutenant. There he was, just out of reach.